RocSports, I'm back with another video. As you can tell by the title, this is my post-fight reaction to Devin Haney and georgekambosos. Let's get right into it. Let's go, man. Devin Haney, undisputed champion. I seen this coming the whole time. We're gonna get right into it. Leading up into this fight, this whole fight week, I feel like Kambosos was just doing the most. And I always felt like Devin Haney had the upper hand, but this whole week, it even made me even more confident, honestly. I respect Kambosos. Absolutely. He's a very good fighter. But he was in there with somebody that potentially, like I said, that has greatness written all over them. This was an easy fight, man. I mean, it's not really much to say. If we're being honest, Devin Haney schooled Kambosos. He couldn't touch Devin Haney. He had to get on the inside, obviously, because with Devin Haney's reach and his length, Kambosos is more of a mid-range to, inside fighter. Not so much inside, but mid-range fighter. The jab, the lead hand, you go back and watch my prediction video, I said I feel as though Devin Haney's lead hand would do most of his work. And I feel as that's what happened. Devin Haney won this fight easily 11 or 12 rounds. Easily. You could say 11 rounds because he took the last round off. Kambosos won the last round just on activity alone. Devin had to fight in the back. Kambosos obviously needed a knockout. Only other round that you could argue is maybe the second round, to me. But I didn't give him that round because it was really just like one shot that he landed. Like Kambosos, that is. He landed a nice, good right hand, but Devin outworked him that round too. Devin is on a whole nother level than Kambosos, man. Again, I respected Kambosos. I thought that it would be much more competitive than what it was. I thought that this would be Devin Haney's toughest fight yet. But I was clearly wrong. Jojo Diaz, Linares, Santiago, what's this other dude name? I'm missing this other guy name. These dudes put up better fights than Kambosos, man. Especially Linares and Jojo Diaz put up a better fight. It was nothing that Kambosos had to offer, honestly. It literally was nothing for him to offer. He landed a few shots here and there. He rocked Devin in the second round, like the shot that I was referring to. He rocked him in the second round with a shot that sort of, it didn't even rock Devin. I mean, it didn't even like hurt Devin. Like, it woke him up, it stunned him. But it was early in the fight. It was just one of those, just getting our feet wet type of fights. And I feel like Devin felt his power from the standpoint of like seeing what he has to offer. And I didn't think it was nothing that like necessarily shook Devin up, but they had a game plan, and like he said himself, he stuck to it. Jab, the footwork from Devin, first off, the jab was beautiful. Devin has a top 5 jab in boxing, not even close. But the footwork by Devin tonight, it was on a totally different level than what Kambosos was on. Kambosos was frustrated. You can see that. His daddy was pissed off. Kambosos' daddy was so upset, man. I'm trying to think, man, because it's just on the fly. So it is certain stuff I want to touch on. So it will be another video to this video. I'm gonna go back and rewatch the fight highlights. There's no need to watch the fight, but we don't need to see a rematch, man. We don't. We really don't need to see a rematch. Let's be honest. I know that it was in the contract. I know it's signed, delivered. But if there's any way that we can get out of a rematch, they need to do it. When we got Tank Davis out there, when we got Loma out there, when we got Teofimo if he's still at 35, Ryan Garcia, so on and so forth, we don't need a Kambosos rematch. We seen it before. It wasn't nothing that happened in this fight that can convince me or sell to me that Kambosos can win the second fight. His arms isn't going to get any longer. His feet isn't going to get any faster. None of that is going to change before in 3 to 4 months. So let Devin go ahead and mix it up and be great with the other young fighters, man. And as well as Loma. But what I really wanted to touch on, again, it's not much I want to say about the fight. Devin was Devin. I wanted him to be himself, stick and move, literally stick in terms of that jab, sticking it out there, tying Kambosos up, the footwork, and then he landed. I really feel like he could have punished Kambosos if he really wanted to, but at the same time, I feel like he was sticking to a game plan in a sense. And I gotta say this before we get to what I really want to touch on: the scorecards. You hear this stuff all the time about, I just don't know about the judges over there, or vice versa. And to be fair, the judges over here is whack too. The judges in boxing period needs work. But to score that fight 116-112, we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about it. Yes, that's still having Devin Haney winning the fight. And yes, he won the fight. The right man won. But we have to talk about F-ups when there's F-ups. In what fight did they watch that Kambosos won 4 rounds? Because it wasn't tonight. He did not win 4 rounds tonight. You would be pressing to give him a round or 2. So how these judges have him winning 4 rounds? I just don't get it, man. If he would have dropped Devin or hurt Devin any, we then would have had a draw tonight. I don't see it. Please, boxing guys, no rematch. Bob Arum, team, Top Rank, everybody, try to work that magic, man, because we don't need a rematch. We really don't need a rematch, especially an immediate rematch. But what I really want to touch on, you already know where I'm going with this. You had all the people, all this time. I'm going to keep saying this. The biggest video on this channel, on this RocSports channel, is the truth about Devin Haney. And in that video, all I touched on, it wasn't necessarily me saying I think that Devin Haney is the best of this bunch. It was none of that. All I was saying is that Devin Haney is the truth. And he's one of the few guys in boxing, let alone his weight class, that wants to fight everybody and nobody wants to fight him. That's just a fact. You can't name me one person that has called out Devin Haney. You can't name me one person that Devin Haney has called out and they agreed to fight him. Now that he's in position, which leads me to my next point. Now that he's in position, let's see who he fights next. You know what I mean? Let's see if these dudes start to step up. And what I mean by stepping up, I'm meaning Loma. Loma had the opportunity to fight Devin years ago. He opted out of that. He like Devin keeps saying, he petitioned to get that WBC franchise belt. Tank hasn't fought nobody. Ryan Garcia, he hasn't fought nobody. Teofimo Lopez did not want to fight him. So once again, now that he's the shot caller, it's going to be very interesting to see how this division shakes out. Everybody all over these years, starting with Teofimo Lopez, and just recently, last week, Tank was sitting here trying to call him an email champion. What are y'all going to say now? What can y'all say about him now? This dude is 23 years old and he's undisputed at one of the premier weight classes in all of boxing and boxing history. And he's 23 years old, the youngest of the bunch, from the new cream of the crop that's at 135. From Loma to Tank to Ryan Garcia to Isaac Cruz to Cambo, whoever you want to mention, from 140 to 132, he's the youngest of the bunch. And he's the shot caller now. Shout out to Devin, man. Shout out to Bill Haney. It's so many videos I want to touch on, but he went from being called the email champion to undisputed. He got that email belt. He got that franchise belt and every other belt in that weight class. So he runs this weight class, period. And for anybody that wants to try to take credit away from Devin Haney, don't do it. Because there was so many people leading up to this fight. You had your people that picked Devin. Yes, Devin was the favorite. But you had so many people leading up to this fight that had Kambosos by late knockout, that was saying that Devin was chinny, Devin hadn't fought nobody, all of that. So the same people that said he was going to get knocked out or get hurt, the same people that thought Kambosos was the truth, thought Devin was just an ordinary fighter, those same people, I'm pretty sure half, if not majority of y'all, think that Teofimo is the truth or was the truth, and rightfully so. So my point is, Kambosos went and did that to Teofimo. That's not Devin's fault. Everybody rated Kambosos after that fight. Give Devin his credit. He went and beat Kambosos. Not only beat Kambosos, schooled him, beat the hell out of him for 12 rounds. 11-1, 12-0, easily. In front of 50,000 people in his hometown, in a whole nother country. Get that man his flowers, man. He's just 23 years old. Everybody that want to talk about he ain't got this, meaning he's chinny, he ain't got no power. He's doing all of this without it. He's doing stuff that fighters that's great has never done. He's doing stuff that's fighters on the pound for pound list trying to do now. My two favorite fighters, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, they fighting to become undisputed. This dude's undisputed at 23 years old, man. I don't want to hear nothing about no competition. Kambosos is a very good fighter. But again, he was in there with somebody that has greatness written all over him. Does that mean that Devin's going to school and beat Loma or Ryan for that matter, or Tank? No. But these are fights that need to be made. That doesn't mean that they're going to beat him neither. We just want to see the fights. So shout out to Devin Haney. Shout out to Bill Haney. I'm very glad that his father was able to get out there and experience this moment with him. And he wanted all the smoke post-fight. Bill got to chill. He don't get locked up over there in Australia, or they ain't going to really let him back for the rematch if it's a rematch. But I ain't going to be too long, man. Shout out to Devin Haney, Team Haney, DHP, one of the youngest in the game that's doing it. Devin has laid the blueprint for sure. Any young fighters that's out there, even old fighters, the blueprint has been made, man. Laid. Devin Haney is the truth. It's RocSports. I'm checking out. All of my boxing, NFL, and NBA fans, like, share, and subscribe, man. Keep coming back. I'm gonna be dropping more content.